Get ready with me while I talk more about Elon's Twitter takeover, the evolution within MAGA at this point, and start getting into the 2024 election. For those who don't know, my name is Ashley St Clair, and I was a MAGA influencer involved in MAGA politics for almost a decade. I know. Now, the year is 2023, and Elon Musk had followed me, slid into my DMs, and shortly after that, I meet him on a job I'm doing, and then I'm on his plane, whatever. I feel like I should preface this by saying I feel like some of my recounting at times can be like more flippant or favorable to myself just because everything that has happened has been so awful and like disproportionate to my involvement that I don't know, sometimes whatever, but I'm gonna preface this. Again, also, I am going to be speaking about things in terms of the pathology in the current moment, not any of my opinions or beliefs right now. So in 2023, I am still very enmeshed in the MAGA cult, right? Simultaneously, there was like a little bit of a warring factions going on amongst MAGA and the right wing, especially going into early 2024. You have like the Ron DeSantis crowd and the Trump MAGA crowd, and they're like going at each other. Now, when Elon starts dipping his toes into right-wing slop, myself and a few other members of the MAGA cult kind of view this as a new leader has arisen for the dying MAGA faction. And so Elon is also an opportunity to revive MAGA in a sense. Now, after I meet Elon, I am just like full pick-me crush mode. I'm like, wow, he's so funny and interesting and smart, and like he likes me. Okay, so like, and something about me, at least before this entire god-awful situation, I am guilty of a diagnosable level of pick-meism when it comes to my relationships with men, okay? When I was dating an Air Force pilot, all of a sudden I knew everything there was to know about planes, and I am an expert on old fashions and Macallans, okay? I unfortunately had a pesky habit of just like absorbing the personalities and interests of any man that I was interested in and reciprocated the attention. All right. I don't know if you guys have seen that meme where it's like me at the horniest I've ever been. How does this game work? That was me, okay? I'm like asking this man about Diablo. When I start getting involved with Elon and having these private conversations with him, it is like I'm being reprogrammed. You know, I'm talking about MAGA shit and he's like, the top problem facing civilization is the birth rate, and I'm like, yes, of course it is. I will now tweet about the birth rates, and I hate myself. Also, it was like very quickly that I started getting involved like very personally with him. He had like a surgery on his shoulder in New York, and then all of a sudden I'm like helping take care of him there, and I'm meeting his mother, and like it was a lot, okay? And he's like pillow talking about his like childhood trauma and his feelings about his mom and his dad, and like I don't know, it felt very emotionally intimate, if you will. He's like sending me pictures of his kids at the pumpkin patch, like all this shit, okay? He's chatting me up. It's not, to me, it's like not any different than like a regular, I don't know. Also in 2023, it is very clear that he wants to be involved in the election because of several investigations going on into him. He basically tells me that the Biden admin has all these investigations into him, like at least half a dozen of significance and a bunch of other smaller ones, and like says that oil and gas wants to kill him. I don't know. Okay, so to me, I'm like, whoa, like they want to take down the new savior. This is all political, you know? He is like, I think, more favorable to the temperament of Ron DeSantis, and just from a practical point of view, I'm like, bro, that meatball ain't never gonna win, okay? He's got the charisma of a fucking chicken biscuit. Good luck with that. And very quickly, he sets his sights on Donald Trump. Far before Butler, when he decides to announce that he's supporting Trump, that man was already supporting Trump. I don't know. It was just very, intoxicating. You're like secretly running around with the richest man in the world, and we're changing the world, and you know, we're gonna save MAGA. Because I'm still in this cult where I believe like the only way to save Western civilization is if we stop Joe Biden. And again, let me remind you, at this point, the Dems, the only person they have up there is that corpse. Like, and I would prefer Joe Biden governance to what the hell is happening now. But like from an optics standpoint, they had a corpse up there. That was their only option until much, much later. So I am just like full blown brainwashed. I have fixated on a new cult leader in Elon Musk because I don't know, for some reason I just have a proclivity for cults, and I don't know. I'm like, let's save Western civilization. And because like Elon is interacting with me so publicly, like again, this is like not only opening up opportunities, but now people are validating me. Like, oh, the work that I've always been doing, now it's great. Look at how brilliant and smart she is, because he's like given me this sense of legitimacy, at least among MAGA, okay? And again, this is like very harmful for me to be in this loop, so I just like double, triple down on all of the harmful things I was saying. Any deconstruction I was having and like bitterness I was having towards MAGA and their rhetoric and their cruelty, this is like completely undone once Elon enters the picture, because I'm like, I was right the whole time. At the same time, I'm also becoming aware of like just the immense level of power that he has. Like at one point there was someone at Twitter, an employee that like he deemed was a snake in the grass, and I believe they were in Ireland. And he basically told me, we're talking about this, and he tells me, well, you know what, like we're gonna send the Tesla investigators to basically take his computer and see what's up, because my Tesla investigators are better than the FBI. There's also like Wall Street Journal hit pieces and other hit pieces that are like being written on him, and I'm watching him quite literally call Rupert Murdoch and like call all of the subjects of these hit pieces and try to offer them things and get them to sign affidavits. Like, I'm just becoming a witness to some crazy shit, okay? There's also just things that I'm witnessing that are like weird. Like Larry Ellison really liked Tim Scott. I think it was Tim Scott for VP, and according to Elon, at one point, Larry Ellison was writing for Tim Scott, like writing speeches for him. I don't know. So I'm getting like swept up into like realizing that so many of the uber wealthy and powerful are like secret Republicans. And at the same time, I would be remiss to say that it wasn't like incredibly interesting. You know, like he's telling me about the time he met Scarlett Johansson and Ryan Reynolds when he was filming Iron Man, and all of these stories about these different people, and Jeff Bezos and his ex-wife, and at 24, 25, like that was cool to me. What's also becoming abundantly clear to me, though, is that there's like a disconnect between the perception of him by the public and what he's putting out there and how he actually lives his life, right? Like the first time I went over to his house, I'm expecting like, you know, the tiny house because that's what everyone thinks he lives in. No, this is like a fucking McMansion with an elevator in the house. And then there's every place I've ever been with him is like uber luxurious. There's not, I'm like, is this like frugality? Is this like, what's happening here? There's a disconnect. There are several times that he tells me that I should have more kids, that I'm a great mom, that, you know, my older son is awesome. And it's just kind of this thing that's like mentioned often, but there's never really a serious conversation about it until January of 2024, like New Year's, but we will get there. So, and at this time, again, I had received so much hate from the right wing for being a single mom, and I love being a mom. Like, I'm so proud of being a mom and the mom that I am. And so this, again, was just really validating to have like this older, successful guy who's like, you're an amazing mom and you should have more kids, yada, yada. He's also involving me more with like individuals from his companies. Like at one point he connects me with some of the engineers at Twitter X to adjust and work on the For You page and the For You algorithm, which the shit I saw and heard from these engineers, man, that's like a whole other video in itself. He also tells me, you know, maybe you should work at X and help, in his words, help recruit other aces. Like he's trying to get me to work at his company. And I'm like, no. Because for me, I'm like, this is fun, but I ain't signing no contract with a man. I also didn't want to work at his companies and then if anything ever came out, like have people say like I only got to where I was because of, you know, Elon or like sleeping my way to the top. Like I was very cognizant of how that would be perceived, and I know I've caused a lot of harm, but I have always been a very ambitious person and a hard worker. Like all of my bosses, even if they hate me, they can never say I was not a hard worker. Like I always took a lot of pride in my work, even if the work was very harmful in retrospect, but I really like working. And then there were several times that, you know, we were together and he would tweet out, you know, the jokes I would make like next to him. And so it was, I'm like, oh my God, he really likes me. He thinks I'm witty and funny and smart. You know, he thinks I'm so smart and witty that he's sharing this with 200 million people. At the same time, I am now starting to feel like an international super spy, okay? Because I am helping him with certain situations going on in Brazil, talking to the Brazilian members of Congress when they're trying to ban like X and Starlink. I don't know. I'm like helping. He's like texting me that he needs help destroying Media Matters. Any help is like appreciated. And so like I feel like I'm being given missions at this point. I feel cool as fuck. He is also using myself and other influencers to like put out oppo and get dirt on people he hates, like Sam Altman. I mean, I cannot begin to express to you how much he talked about Sam Altman. Like he would be laying in bed and talking about Sam Altman. He would be like, Sam just runs around San Francisco having gay orgies. Why are you talking about what Sam Altman's sex life is like in San Francisco? Like, what are we doing here? And he would be very upset that OpenAI was apparently, according to him, like offering Tesla people more money than he could offer them. And it was just like constant. And he would send me posts or, you know, articles to things that he wanted boosted, like, you know, framing Sam for murder or that kind of stuff, you know, just casual. there was also the Don Lemon incident. Like, he got mad at Don Lemon, and then the executives at X were then like leaking me confidential information about their like alleged contract negotiations with Don Lemon, and having me and other influencers put this out there like to smear Don. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but just you, at least I, at that time on the internet, like, you are so disconnected from the consequences of your actions, and like nothing feels real. Like, I did not stop to consider like the actual implications of any of this, that there were real people at the other end getting hurt. And that's why I try not to, like, I don't know, like, cry too much about the things that have happened to me, because I think, like, in the back of my head, like, I feel like I deserve them. Like, it's my penance for being such an unempathetic piece of shit, and like engaging and helping these individuals with their cruelty. Like, as I've said before, the cruelty only happened to me because of the cruelty I ignored to others. And I will reiterate that to me, it didn't, in the moment, it didn't feel like cruelty, because these people are painted as like threats to democracy. We see this now, right? The DOJ is going after Don Lemon, which sounds insane, but like, this is genuinely, when you're in that cult, when you're in that mindset, you genuinely believe, you're like, yes, the worst thing for Western civilization is Don Lemon. I feel stupid. I feel ashamed of myself. I feel used. I feel naive. Like, there's so many emotions that come up when I talk about this, and I haven't spoken about it for years. Like, I've never spoken about any of this until right now. Oh, one other thing I will note is, because Elon at this time is getting so enmeshed, like, in the MAGA circles and being hailed as this warrior of free speech and taking on the radical Dems, I'm not getting any other opinions. Like, I am strictly enmeshed in Elon's sycophancy.